bringing you Behind the Mic with B96.9. Today I am joined by a special guest from Fort Wayne United. I have Christopher Guerin of Sweetwater here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Nice to be here.
Oh, so amazing to have you here in the studio and behind the mic talking about your role with Sweetwater. So tell me, what exactly is your title or responsibility at Sweetwater?
Well, I'm the Vice President of Corporate Communications, and I have basically three jobs. I serve on a lot of boards, so I do a lot of community work, in particular with Fort Wayne United.
Yes.
I handle all of our public relations, and I handle the donations program of Sweetwater. I don't make the decisions, but I facilitate all the requests.
Okay. Now, people may not know, Sweetwater is founded and headquartered right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, by, of course, an amazing philanthropic spirit in Chuck Surak, your CEO and president. Tell me, what really is the root of how generous you guys are and how important it is for you guys to be present here in the Fort Wayne community?
Well, the latter is easy. We, as a company, started here. Chuck started the company in '79. He grew up here. He went to Wayne High School. His heart is here.
Yes.
He had a chance when he built the new campus to move elsewhere and decided that, no, this is my home. As the company has grown, Chuck has taken more of a leadership role in the community, and he and his wife have become major philanthropic givers, if you will, in this community. In particular, in three areas. They are very interested in music programs, they are interested in programs for disabilities, and they have been very supportive of Black organizations. Chuck was one of the earliest supporters of UPath with Marshall White.
Yes.
And he's currently running a campaign to build a new building for the Boys and Girls Club.
Wonderful.
And there was a recent concert out at McMillan Center, and Chuck was one of the major sponsors for that.
Oh, yes. The Sweetwater All-Stars did a phenomenal job that evening. The Isley Brothers, it was such an amazing evening in the park.
Yes, it was.
And I think music is the ultimate unifier. So speaking of, what really stood out to you about Fort Wayne United that said, hey, we need to really get involved and get behind this initiative?
It really started when Iric Headley approached me about doing a program in the schools in which students would come up with ideas that were relevant to their schools, write songs, and then those songs would come to Sweetwater. We would produce and record them, and then we'd put together a CD, and eventually there would be a concert.
Amazing.
All of this message-based, depending upon the school, whether it was shootings or snitching or whatever the issue is, each school would write their own songs. And so that early experience with Iric led to our becoming really, really good friends.
Yes.
And he eventually invited me to be a member of the steering committee, and I just couldn't turn him down. And it has been one of the more rewarding things I've ever done in my life, was to work with him and try to deal with issues of opportunity and exposure and to grapple with a very difficult issue in this community, which is the murder rate among young Black Americans.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, for me, one of the most amazing, I think, parts of this program is the interaction that these young boys have with high-level leadership here in the city. So I know you had mentioned the first time you attended a live session. What was that experience like for you, watching these boys interact, get mentorship, and just have dialogue about things that are plaguing them in the community?
Well, it was an education all unto itself. There were policemen there. There were young men some of whom are well along towards success in life, some of whom sat there like this for the first half hour. They weren't buying a single word of it. One of the things I like to say about Iric is that he is an incredible listener.
Yes.
And as a listener, he can moderate these sessions. And even the guy who's going like this at the beginning, by the end, he's talking more than anybody else because he's got so much to say. He's got real issues. And so the remarkable thing to me is the room is somewhat tense when things start out. You know, you've got these young black men, and you've got people from the police, and you've got IRIC. By the time 2 or 3 or 4 hours later, things come to a close, the tension has gone right out of the room. There is a sense of understanding, of mutual respect that wasn't there before. In essence, they've walked in each other's shoes for a couple of hours,
Definitely.
and it definitely changes their way of viewing each other. And so it was a really incredible experience to see that. Then there's the forums, which are done on a bit larger scale. Again, you have young black men and police men and women talking, but in front of groups of 200 or 300 people.
Oh, wow.
And those are equally impactful. Again, the same kind of dynamic goes on stage, but it filters out to the entire audience, and you see a lot of shaking of heads, and it's really a remarkable experience.
Yeah. I think you're right. The power of the program really lies in its leadership and the foundation of this program with people like yourself, IRIC, Joe Jordan, Chris Cathcart of Ivy Tech. I mean, the foundational agents that are really pushing this program, in addition to, this initiative and this concept being brought to the city by Mayor Tom Henry. It's so needed, it's so impactful, and I appreciate you guys so much for bringing the 96.9 into this partnership. So for more information on how you can get involved, how you can get your youth connected to Fort Wayne United, go online to fortwayneunited.org. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining me. It's been my absolute pleasure. And stay tuned for more Behind the Mic.